everybody. Today is Valentine's Day. I am so excited. Thank you for tuning in to Empower Hour with your host, Nakornsri. This is a platform to educate, empower, and enlighten the world so that they can reach their full potential. Today, I have a very special guest, Marcus. Marcus and I, we met about, what is it, like 4 years ago?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
4 years ago, through a mutual friend, and it was something about Marcus that just made me say he is someone who has depth. Is someone who's soulful. I feel like well, you are someone who has this presence about yourself, that you are sure of yourself and you know yourself. So that type of presence I'm always drawn to.
Thank you.
And today is actually going to be our official conversation day, where I'm really getting to know deeper with your perspective and your life experiences. So I am so honored that you're here.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. I appreciate being here today.
So can you tell us, how did you get started? What did you do? Like, where you are today? Like, can you tell us all that?
How to get started? Well, I started by failing. So I pretty much have failed every step of the way, but found my way into success. So a little bit how I kind of got my way to DC. I had thought I graduated college and ended up walking across the stage, all that stuff. Got a letter, basically said, "Nope, you failed." So
What?
but this is the third time I have failed out of college. So every time I failed, I miraculously got right back in. Like literally, there's days I got my dismissal and readmittance letter at the same day.
Mm.
So being and even how I got into college, I had a C minus in my high school average, and I had 890 on my SATs, and I ended up going to UConn, which at the time and still is, it's one of the best schools in the Northeast.
Wow.
So I spent my time there. I kind of worked my magic, talked to a admissions guy. He said, like kind of what you're saying, I like your story. I'm gonna give you a try. So he gave me a try, held on to the opportunity, and still didn't make the most of it because evidently I failed out.
Okay.
Ended up wanting to move to DC. At this time, I'm a brand new dad too, so I'm going through all the stuff, the dramas that kind of go with that at a young age, and kind of battled through that, and ended up having an opportunity to come here. And I came and got into banking while simultaneously being in the club game, and met someone, a colleague of mine, who had an idea to start a liquor company.
Mm-hmm.
We go on and start this liquor company. We quit our jobs. Well, first we had $175 to start the business.
Wow.
He studied the stock market tirelessly, took that 175 and turned it into $20,000.
Wow.
So, and that's all through an E-Trade account and just studying. And we go from there. We start this company and we start importing alcohol and distributing it. Goes well and it fails. That's why I end up in the club business back again, managing. And a client that I had in banking sees me at the club and says, "Hey, I got an idea. I got an opportunity. I'm going to talk to you about it."
Oh my goodness.
And lo and behold, he's buying a nightclub. So he says, "I know you know business. I know you know money. I want you to come and run it for me." So he gives me an opportunity to run this nightclub. It's also a restaurant. So I learned the restaurant business, hospitality business simultaneously. And then that goes sour as well. And I'm kind of on my own. And a mentor I had ends up purchasing a bunch of television stations, broadcast stations. Tells me, I've been mentoring you a while. I've got a couple people in mind. I'm gonna let you put your, take a shot at getting a job with the company. It was for some entry-level job. Whatever I said, whatever my experience was, he had me meet with another colleague of his, so it was all, there's no bias in the decision. And they called me and offered me the position of vice president of the company. Now, I don't have any bad broadcast experience. I find out that it's a bunch of electrical engineering is really what I need to learn, because we're building these stations completely from the ground up. I do that for the last 2-3 years. And almost a year ago, I just one day decided I didn't want to work there anymore.
Wow.
I said I wanted a 90-day plan. Opportunity came the next day that gave me an extra strategy that pretty much paid me for over 90 days and let me leave that day. And I, took it, started another business, did some venture capitalist stuff, and in the meantime, I've literally just kind of just been wondering why me. I think people always, whether their situation's good or bad, they want to know why them, and I want to know why. Given everything I had been through or put myself through, why did I get these opportunities? And that's where I am now, and understanding the why.
Well, have you discovered that? Because there is something about you that, like, you're the chosen one. Because it's like you are just walking through life and everything is just drawn to you. Your opportunities are drawn to you. You go into a meeting and they put you in VP of, a broadcasting, position or, banking and all of these things. I mean, what is it about you?
I was a lot of experiences when I was younger, young child. Makes you ask yourself, who you are. Certain times life will put you in positions where you gut check time, and it's you're gonna sink or swim. It's life or death, and I took those opportunities and I said, why not? I loaded everything on my back and decided I was going to win no matter what. And even the times when I wanted to stop, somehow something came my way and pushed me forward. So as I'm moving to understand the why, I understand that, there's an infinite energy out here, whatever you want to call it, whether it's God, the universe, what have you. But there's actual real life proof of why these things happen to people. It comes from within. Everybody kind of goes on this outward search to find everything, when really the answers start with yourself. When you hear that thought that resonates with you, that solves your problems, and then you didn't hear from outside, you usually heard it in your head, and then produce outside,
Yes.
And when I looked at, and some of those challenging times, I turned to, faith and religion, and found myself. I had a lot of satisfaction, but still a lot of questions, and I don't like to be left with questions. And I think that's kind of what propelled me, the fact that I've never said I couldn't do something, because I always knew how to find an answer. So finding answers, when I prepared for the broadcast role in that interview, and I put it out there as best as I could. And the one thing it's a takeaway with businesses, every business has the same mechanics. They all have a different nuance. The object of the game is to get money, and to get more money than you're spending. And if you take it from an ABC perspective and build from that, and that's what I did from everything. I just built and saw how everything connected, and how my misfortunes connected to, my upward swings, and my, even when I was up, how did I get down? How did that connect? And it's all the universe, God, whatever, pushing you in the direction that you were intended to be in.
So how did you get into a space of really hearing that inner voice? Because a lot of people don't have that sense of connection with God or with the universe, and they're not able to connect with that voice to get guidance.
I think I've experienced death, or in different ways. I've experienced through the loss of parents, through family members, friends, and loss in general. I think when you find yourself in a situation of loss or whatever it is, people are always trying to find an answer, and either they crush under the weight of it or they rise. So in terms of finding that, you just have to look at yourself and say, what am I made of? Do you want this experience to end at the end of the day, and you push it forward?
It seems to me that your overall vision wasn't to get that position or to get the next position. Like, it seems like you're just going through the flow of life, but have a bigger purpose and have a bigger, greater, vision that you're giving it to God.
So people always ask me what's my passion. I always say, what's my vision. So whenever I manifest things or meditate on it, I don't even worry about all the mechanisms, the ABCs to my Z. I just worry about Z. I see myself, ultimately my vision, I'm somewhere warm, tropical, and I'm laying in a hammock. And, that's okay.
Well, that's
I don't think that.
lucky, see?
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna be here. But this is just
It's freezing.
every place is a portal. You
Yeah.
come here and you go to different regions, and even statistics have showed that United States of America is, people's ideals are so far apart. It's literally 15 different countries.
Yeah.
So every different place is gonna have a different type of energy that allows you to do certain things. So I'm from New Haven, Connecticut. Nobody's making any large moves there. You kind of end up becoming a civil service worker, working for municipality, some of those levels, retail, but nobody's saying, what, I want to own, a club, and if they do, there's forces out there that'll stop them, whether you want to call it race or economics, socioeconomics, what have you.
Mm-hmm.
So you come to a place like this, the demographics are different. You see people making much more money. So if people are in a money mindset, the money's going to find you if you put yourself in a position to find the money. So as I've taken this journey and I've okay, these things are attracting to me. What I've always worried about, I knew that money was going to get me to where I wanted to go.
Mm-hmm.
So and it's been my up, my down. Sometimes money I thought created me or made me feel, a sense of security. And eventually when you up, you could be down. And then where's your security then? Right. So I was trying to find more tangible ways. And as I'm finding the why to those ways, so even the way we process information. And so my journey has taught me to our brain. It's going to look for other like things. It's called mirror neurons. Mm-hmm. These things point out however you want to imagine. They're going to attract. That's the law of attraction happening on a physiological level. Mm-hmm. And I think if people could break it down in their minds and understand that literally you could do nothing and bring yourself everything as long as you're happy. But you have to drown out the voices. But because of the way, our neuronic connections where we look, mm-hmm. the brain doesn't know anything about reality. It doesn't mm-hmm. know what's real or what's fake. It's only looking for information that's going to give it overwhelming proof that it's on the right path. Mm. And this is any book you could look at. This isn't something, any scientific book will tell you this. So as you understand this, you understand that now I have to start feeding myself. That's why they say you're like the people you're around, the 5 people you're around the most. Mm-hmm. Because those people are feeding you information and they are satisfying what it is that you believe to be right or wrong. Whenever you have an issue, what do? You call your friend. Mm-hmm. And usually that friend's going to agree with you, and when they don't, someone has told you that their truth is okay for me.
Right.
So I take that in, and now if their truth is different from mine, some new neuron connections has happened. Now the mirror neurons are now pointing out, looking for other things to say, all right, such and such told me this. Now it's looking for the energy out there right. to bring it there.
So you're saying that we have to claim our day. We have to claim our perspective. We have to claim our reality, and then that becomes the true reality.
Mm-hmm. Because what happens is they say it takes 21 days to create a habit, 28 days to break one, mm-hmm. and that's because it's harder to convince yourself what's not true, right? So we could look around the world and say, let's look at, I don't know, race is a big issue here, right? And we could all look at it and say how much it doesn't make sense, but there's so many people out here agreeing to it at some level, right? Mm-hmm. But it's only because they're like the people that they're around. If you go to these pockets of the country, there's people just like that. Mm-hmm. So when you run around and you start to fill your head with new information, you're going to find, like, for example, last week I decided that I knew enough that I wanted to start to talk about this. And then out of how many years last week we decided to talk and you tell about this show, and here I am today.
I know. I was so surprised. You were like, okay.
Yeah, and you asked me for a bio, didn't have one, none right. of that. And you asked me about branding, and I said, I don't worry about branding because right. at the end of the day, whatever is my path and whatever I believe in is going to come to me. That's marketing.
Right.
Because even when you watch the TV, is it really the images there again? It's the constant, because our brain works through images, repetition, and trauma. Mm-hmm. So we're constantly watching an image over and over and over and over again, because right. that's what the commercial is based on, repetition.
Right.
Now we're getting fed that image, and now that becomes our truth.
Right.
Because now everybody's watching because it's mass consumed. Mm-hmm. And that's the gist of it.
That's why it's good not to watch TV. Because did they say that the news is owned by like 3 corporations or something like that?
The news is, if it comes on cable, somebody paid for you to watch it like
Right.
that. It's meant to change your mind, and we live in this place of alternative facts. And now that you hear this hot button word, what do we see? All these brand new news sources. Here we are.
Right.
You had a vision. You created your new alternative facts based on your vision.
Right.
Where somebody may have told you, well, you can't get on the major network. So what?
Right.
I'm going to create my own vision, and here I am, and people are going to attract themselves to it.
That's
I don't.
true.
There's nothing I have to do. People will support it.
Yeah.
And it'll keep growing, but it comes from you.
Yeah. It's true, because when you're in a spiritual path of enlightenment, you just want to do things that's aligned to your purpose. It's not no more of hustling. It's not no more of, trying to find resources and trying to find things. You just become the solution, and everybody else is drawn to that,
Yep.
And it's been amazing, because people that I've thought that would not want to show their faces on social media or this outlet or whatever, I felt like they were not going to do it, but because it's in line with their purpose, they were so willing to do it. And I can see that you are literally centered and strong in your belief and your value. You found truth. And how do you think that other people can find that, though? Do you think that it's just one of those spiritual enlightenments? They wake up one day?
There's definitely steps to it. So the science of all this, of all the positive mantras and all that, is you're programming your subconscious. And when you're programming your subconscious, you're forming new neuronic connections. And to give you an idea, we live in a world where we think that there's only a certain amount of possibilities that play out.
Right.
But we actually live in a world that has infinite possibilities. But it's based on a certain parameter of things that can happen. But when we think about the infinite amount of things out here, I mean, what has to go in to make a microphone? Tons of things. So when we break it down on a small level, the picture seems far more dynamic.
Right.
So to answer your question, there's definite steps. So you do things like reminding yourself that this is an infinite universe. There are, I think it's something like 60 million millionaires in the United States alone. I mean, you don't have to have a bunch of cash. It's about assets. It's about different things. So why can't you become a millionaire? So when you're thinking about that, think about how somebody owns that tire company that's on that car. But better yet, there's metal inside the tire that you can't see. Somebody owns the metal company that's producing and making and mining that metal.
Right.
There's so when we're thinking big picture, we have to see the small dots, but we connect them. So not only do we go and we say the possibilities, but who are we? We define ourselves.
Right.
And eventually it's hard. Like it's very easier said than done. So the math of it is this: do it for 90 days. I guarantee at day 60, there'll be a breakthrough. Where if you go and tell yourself every day, whatever it is, like I said, I'm $1 million Marcus, right? I'm going to get me this million because I got to get to my hammock. I'm not, and on the way, I want to teach everybody this way so they can go and live whatever it is that they want to do. Because the other thing is you can't get caught up in the position of good or bad.
Right.
At the end of the day, we produce an energy, whether we're going to bring the positive things or the negative things. Because at the most simplest stage of life, it's nothing about a plus and a minus charge that creates an atom. And that creates, the form of life, one of the building blocks. So when we're putting out this energy, the only thing is we're putting out the energy to receive. And that's what we're saying is our will be done. So say these mantras, say whatever it is about yourself, tell yourself that you're prosperous, tell yourself that you're in a prosperous world for at least 90 days. Day 60, you'll believe it. Even the days when you don't believe it, just say it, because your ears are hearing it. It's programming. And then one day you will run the program just like a computer.
Yeah.
And then that will be your life.
Right.
And then every day you'll see more and more examples of how God, the universe, or whatever is just throwing things in your path, telling you you're on the right path. And the only thing that you don't have to do is show any fear. And it talks about in the Bible the mustard seed of doubt. And when you go and break that down in quantum science, they say for an energy to happen, all it needs is 0.3 of a centimeter for expansion or explosion, the Big Bang Theory. So that's literally a mustard seed of doubt. So all the clues are there, and everything that we've learned in all of our life, we just have to see them from a different perspective. And it's about perspective and understanding that. So everything that happens, instead of saying, why me, why not, try to find the lesson in it. And those are all the things, I would say those are the three major things that will get you to that 90 day. And after that, I mean, literally, money might just fall out the sky into your pocket.
I receive. I love it so much. Before we end our segment, I mean, there's so many things that I really want to ask you. You have so much knowledge, so much experience, so much wisdom. One last thing is, what do you want to be known for?
The guy that got everybody to unlearn and relearn. There's a proverb I heard, I forgot who it's from, but it says you can't fill a bowl that's already full. So you need to empty your bowl in order to put new information and fact and perspective in it, and then make a decision. But everybody's kind of stuck in a dogma or why, and we don't know why, but it's fear. So I challenge everybody. I got everybody. I want to be the guy that told everybody, got everybody to take their fear away.
Yes.
Yeah, because that's the only thing that controls us.
Yes, that's true. That's the what is it? They said the opposite of love is fear.
Mm-hmm. It's a thin line.
But anyways, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I am so honored for you to be in this platform and share your wisdom and truth with us.
No, thank you. I appreciate you having me. I hope to come back.
We're gonna have you again, and you're gonna be a speaker at the women's organization. So
all right,
it's gonna be great.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Marcus.
Thank you.
Okay, we have the next person coming up. Hey guys, welcome back. Now I have my friend Nicole. Oh my goodness, I've known her for 5 years. What an amazing, amazing person, amazing spirit. As soon as we met, we already vibe. It was one of those things, the law of attraction, energy just synced. And then we have so much memories of like empowerment. I mean, Oprah, seminars, just a lot of history there. But I want her to introduce what she does and to you guys.
So I'm Nicole, and I'm a hair collector. I travel to various countries to collect hair directly from the donors. And like right now, I'm actually on the wave of bringing more like entrepreneurs to the source because I go to countries, so I want to help other people get to the source, cut the middleman out. So that's kind of like what I'm trying to
Yeah,
do.
that is so wonderful because first of all, your hair products is
Thank
beautiful.
you.
She's made me a model a bunch of times.
Thank you.
But no, the hair is really really good quality, and not only that, the story behind, your product is so powerful because you're not only giving people an opportunity to be entrepreneurs, but you're also putting back into the Asian community, the poverty side of, what is it, Cambodia?
Cambodia, yeah, Cambodia, Vietnam, and Laos. So
Wow. And so she's literally going there and just building opportunities for people over there to even, make any money there. So I think that is just heroic.
thank you.
How did
Yeah.
that come about? Was it like, how did you wanted to use your platform to, spread and make a greater impact?
Well, obviously, when you're spending a lot of money with any supplier, anything like that, you want to actually sit down with that supplier and, like break bread with that supplier. You want to sit down and form that relationship with that supplier. So that required me to go. And when I went, it was like a culture shock almost because I've never, poverty in America is, Jordans and, you TVs, cars, like you have, like the things you need, but like poverty in Cambodia, like I saw children that's my kids' age
Right.
without diapers, without shoes.
Right.
So seeing that, it kind of triggered something in me just because I felt like my purpose was developed then. Seeing that because
Oh, I love it.
it was, I don't know, like it was just mind blowing because I never witnessed anything like that before.
Right.
So I felt like that's like when my purpose developed for my brand.
Right.
Pretty much bridging the gap because when we wear hair extensions, it's a luxury item for us.
Right.
And we don't think twice about the walk of life of the person who hair we're wearing. So it's kind of like I want people to be more conscious of like the product that they're wearing. And when they purchase, they can actually help,
Right.
someone else in another country.
I mean, hair products in America is such a huge industry.
$62 billion in 2016.
$62 billion industry. Wow,
Yeah.
you're in the right industry.
Recession-proof industry.
I love it. Okay, so how do you balance out between, being a mother and, running your own business? How do you do that?
It's hard. I would be lying if I said that it wasn't. It's extremely hard. As you know, I have a 2-year-old, Bella. When I had Dakota,
Beautiful.
thank you. When I had Dakota, I was still able to navigate kind of like how I wanted to because I, was fortunate enough to have a nanny and support. But with Bella, it was just like, oh my goodness, it was really like a game changer. And I was
Right.
kind of, I think I was in denial a little bit just because I'm like, I'm used to, moving how I need to move.
Yeah.
But, family trumps everything.
Right.
So it's hard. So I sacrifice my sleep. I don't sleep. I'm like a vampire. like
Wow.
like a vampire. So I kind of just like try to structure my days.
Right.
I try to make sure they're on a strict schedule where so like they're in bed at 8 o'clock and then like from 8:30 until the wee hours of the morning, and I'll be up like tackling like the tasks that
Right.
I need to tackle.
So I know that sometimes you can have that moment where you're just like, I'm just going to give up and I'm going to push forward. Like, what makes you say, I'm just going to push forward?
Okay, so I'm the person like a lot of people come to and they're able to pour like their heart out to me, and sometimes I'm like, drained. Like I feel like I'm an empath. Like I feel like I'm drained. So my go-to for everything is podcasts.
Yeah.
So I'm always listening to TD Jakes. I'm always
Really?
listening. Yes, in my car, I'm always listening to TD Jakes. I'm always listening to Sir Jake Roberts. So I'm always listening to some sort of podcast to kind of like fuel myself. Whether I'm driving in a car, whether it's like once the kids are asleep and I'm in the shower, I'll light my candles, I'll turn on my podcast.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like how I,
cleanse and unwind.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
And that's very important because you do, pick up so many people's energy.
Absolutely.
And then it is dreadful. They just want from you and to take from you, right? And that's your you time, self-care. Is there anything that you particularly heard recently and you practice?
So actually, I'm somewhat of a perfectionist. And so I can get caught up in trying to make things perfect, whereas though if it's not perfect, I'm not doing it. So what that does is it actually paralyzes me. So I was talking to my photographer, Alan, and he's been trying to shoot like for a long time. I mean, Alan. But he's been trying to shoot, and he's like, Miss Nicole, you just need to read this book. You need to read this book.
Yeah.
And so it was pretty much talking about how to stop overthinking and just let things happen. So I didn't I always use Audible, and so I listened to it about like 2 hours. I listened to it like from the time he gave it to me. By the next day, I listened to it about like 3 times.
What is the book?
Yeah, the book.
Okay.
So
what is the book called?
How to stop overthinking.
Okay. Yeah, you're right.
How to stop
You're right.
overthinking.
Okay. And then?
So yeah, I listened to the book about like 3 times, and I'm just like, like your guest before was saying, like keep listening, and he said something like to the extent of 90 days, like you kind of like reprogram. So I'm in the process of reprogramming myself, letting myself know, like just pretty much reprogramming myself to understand that get started, stop worrying about like things being perfect, just get started,
Right.
So
I do see the difference between the time I spoke to you over the phone, it was probably like 2 weeks ago.
okay.
And then it was like all your Instagram stuff and all your social media stuff has, changed dramatically, and you're just going out there and you're going for it.
Right, yeah.
Is that from the whole experience that you were just talking about?
Yes, absolutely. So like actually the picture that I've been posting, I've had that in my phone for about 2 years.
Oh, wow.
I've had it in my phone for about 2 years, and so I'm doing the Beauty Expo in March, and I didn't get the urge to do a new photo shoot, and she really needed marketing material. So it's like, oh my God, I don't want to send her this picture. Then I start looking through my phone, I'm like, oh yeah, here go that picture. And I just sent it to her, and everyone's like, I love this picture. And I'm just like, really? Like, so that was like,
Guys,
see, again, paralyzing myself.
Nicole is one of the most humblest, modest woman that I know. I mean, can I say it?
What? What are you going to say? Like, what are you going to say?
Zip code, Georgetown, all that.
I don't...
Well, first of all, I think she is so humble. Like, her soul is rich. Not only that she's rich inside, but she's also rich outside. I mean, she lives in $1 million home and everything like that. And she's like, that is not what makes you happy.
No.
Like, what makes you happy is peace and giving for others. Like, talk to us more about what happiness is.
Absolutely. Like, money is not everything. I'm here to tell you guys it's not. And, I mean, I guess a lot of people, that's what they're chasing. They're chasing status, and they're chasing things that really don't matter. Like, those things don't matter at all. So, like, learning that, because I had to unlearn what I thought I knew and, like, relearn. Like, that stuff don't matter. That stuff is, disposable. So it's like the relationships you have, the times and memories that you create with your family, that, like, those are things that really matter. So I don't necessarily get caught up in, like, the riffraff of the things that don't matter.
Right.
And then, obviously, traveling, like, being exposed to other things,
Yeah.
you see things don't really cost much. So you see a lot of people, going paycheck to paycheck to buy things that has like a high markup on it. Like, they really don't need it. You know what I mean? So
You did say something to me about 2 years ago. Like, if we only knew how much certain things cost to even make it versus what we pay at the store, you wouldn't even buy it.
absolutely. So if you ever go shopping with me, I'll be on a clearance
Right.
clearance rack, like picking, because I can't
Like, give us an example for the people that don't know about,
sourcing and things like that. So before I went to Cambodia, I was actually looking on Nordstrom website for a silk robe. And if you guys go on Nordstrom website like right now, you guys may see silk robes for like $100, $200, and I just was like, I really want to.
You're kind of like, that's kind of cheap though for like
No.
a silk.
No, like it's not cheap.
But then when you went to
I went to Cambodia, and I mean, you know, Cambodia is known for producing silk. So I went to the market, and like the same robe that I saw in Nordstrom's was $5.
Oh wow.
So
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, what? So I bought a couple.
Right.
I bought a couple, and it just, you know, just reprogram like the way I think about things and how I choose to spend my money. Like I'm trying to convert all of the hyper consumers into like producers.
Yes,
So.
I think that's really what changed the most for you. I feel like when you traveled to Asia,
Yeah,
I mean, you came back thinking, you know, from a different perspective.
absolutely.
That's amazing.
Absolutely.
I think that we only have a really small, limited time left over, but can you tell us how can we get in touch with you and all your social media stuff?
So my social media is Regal Beauty Club. My personal social media is Royalty, and that's with 2 L's, 2 T's, and 2 Y's. And then my website is myregalhair.com.
And then one last thing, what is your live and learn and pass it on moment? What kind of message do you want to share to the world?
Stay true to yourself, like what you believe in, walk in your true purpose. Like forget about the outside noise, forget about, you know, what other things, other people's their standards for you. Like live your life. Like this is your journey. You don't get to do it over. Live your life.
I love that. It gave me chills. You don't get to do it over, guys. You have to choose.
One shot.
Yes, you're right. Well, thank you so much for coming here. I am so honored.
I'm
And-
honored for you having me too.
We have been friends for 5 years, and we are going to remain friends
Absolutely.
forever. Thank you, guys. Happy Valentine's Day.
Yes, happy Valentine's.